All right, hey, shalom, shalom. All right, before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Okay, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, safety, and much love to the elect. The brother Tazawam here, back in the spirit, got a little quick live impromptu lesson, so to speak. Basically, it's going to be entitled L in the spirit, or L in the flesh equals a W in the spirit. And the reason why I want to go into this is because, you know, whenever you take a loss in the flesh, whenever you go through certain things and it just seems like you don't understand at that very moment what's happening to you or what's going on to you, and it just and you frustrated, just know that if you hold on to your faith and to your integrity, it's going to equal a W in the spirit, because you would have either gained experience from that particular lesson. You would either gain edification, you would gain you would get an evil spirit off you, or the Lord is doing that to purge you, or He's doing that for to admonish you, to correct you. All right, because the Lord said what? He chastens who He loves. So the Lord will take you through certain things in the flesh, to where your flesh is being compromised for spiritual gain. All right. So whenever we face with situations or things in the flesh, whether it's an infirmity, okay, whether it's a physical ailment, or lack of food, lack of water, lack of resources, to get things done, just know that if you hold on to your integrity, it is really equal in a W in the flesh, or a win. All right, because your flesh, Salaki, in your spirit, because your spirit is actually sustaining you rather than your flesh. Because we live in a society where what? It's all carnal. Everybody feeds off of carnality. It's all about getting that money. It's always about I ain't gonna miss a meal. You know, it's always about health and things of that nature. But when really they being spoiled by the flesh. The flesh is corrupting their mind. All right, so when the time of tribulation comes, they're going to be so spoiled from this American society that when it's time to activate spiritual senses, they won't have any spiritual senses to activate, because they've been fulfilling the lust of the flesh. All right, so this is Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." All right, so you may have a situation where you may have to turn down a nice ass woman. You may have to turn down a job opportunity because it's gonna get in the way of the truth. All right. You may have to turn down a hot meal because it's pork in it, and you was hungry as hell, but it's pork in this meal. You may have to turn that down. All right. You may lose a job. You may lose a car. You may lose a house. You may lose a family member. You may lose a woman. You may lose your children. All right. But all of these things, okay, equals a what? A W in the spirit. Because now you're learning how to cope with problems through the spirit, and not react or cope with problems by going into the flesh. Okay? Because that's what these Americans do. Whenever they face with obstacles, first thing they do is they look for what? A carnal rescue. A carnal way out. Okay? If they lose a job, or if they about to get evicted, what do? Go and rob a bank. You know? Well, if we get in these situations and we find ourselves in a tight squeeze, what do? We go to the Lord. We sustain ourselves through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right? Verse 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. So they work one against each other. The flesh tells you, man, look, go and do this. But the spirit, which is your righteous subconscious, it tells you, hey man, just hold on, keep your faith. You know what I'm saying? The spirit tells you these things, but the flesh, because you're in the fleshly realm, the desires are more attractive to the eye. You can see it. You can lay eyes upon carnal rescue, so to speak. You can lay eyes on it, but spiritually, you can't perceive it. You just have to have faith that is going to work itself out through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. And that's when you become a stronger man. All right? When your hope in something that's not seen at the moment manifests itself throughout your walk. That's when you tap into power. That's when you tap into a level of understanding. All right? When things that you hope for that you can't see with the physical eye start to begin to manifest in your life to save you, okay, because of your belief. See, these people in this world, they go through when they go through their lows, what do? They look for the carnal way out. Well, let's go do this. Let's do that. Let's go here. Let's go. The last thing they're thinking about is calling on the Lord. The last thing they're thinking about is patience. The last thing they're thinking about is the scriptures. The last thing that they're thinking about is prayer and fasting. All right? They need instant results through the flesh. That's what makes them feel better, when really it makes them weak. It makes them a dependent product of this American society. Okay? Read it again, verse 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to another, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if you be led by the spirit, ye are not under the law. So if you're led by the spirit, you're not under the law. And because the law is what? The law is spiritual, but it's carnal. All right? The technicalities of the law. Okay? That's why the Lord, now we under the what? The law of faith. I'm going to get that. We up under the law of faith. This is Romans chapter 3, verse 27. It says, where is boasting then? Is it excluded? By what law? Of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. All right? So we're not under the carnal law, so to speak. The carnal law is still in place. All right? It still needs to be kept. It still needs to be reverenced and respected and kept to the best of your ability. But the law that's going to get you out of America is the law of faith. The belief, okay? The belief in Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashad, the patience of the scriptures. You know, that's why the scriptures speak highly on what? Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. It don't say this is the law of the saints that's going to save them. The law can't save you. All right? Your patience, your faith. And that only comes through what? Through spiritual access given to you by Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashad. Okay? Let me get one more precept. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So if you spending all your time parlaying in America, okay, you always using the excuse of a job to why you can never be around, to why you can never do videos, to why you can never do live streams, to why you using that excuse you using that excuse to back up you being underdeveloped. Okay, if you always talking about you got this rib, you got this woman, you got this spot you got to go to, you got this going on, that going on, but you ain't producing in the spirit, then what you're going to reap is going to be a product of what you sow. Okay. It says verse 8, for he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. All right. So if you sow to the flesh, and then you find yourself in a situation where you're going to have to activate spirituality, you're not going to be able to activate spirituality because all you've done was sow to the flesh. So you're going to take an L to the flesh. Okay. Or you're going to take an L to the spirit, Salaki. All right. You're going to lose to the spirit because you're not spiritually trained. You're not spiritually built. You're not spiritually strong to get through this particular obstacle because you sowed to the flesh. Now you must reap to the flesh. But if you sow to the spirit, you must reap to the spirit. It's going to go into that. All right. But he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting. All right. And that's when you are able to, when you start to see if a brother is really down or if he bullshitting, when he runs into tests, when he runs into problems, when he runs into sacrifices, when he runs into compromising the world for the truth, when it comes into zeal and things of that nature. That's when you're able to determine a man's integrity and a man's spirituality. When he faced with obstacles, you see him grow after it, man. You see him elevate after the obstacle, man. And that's when you begin to see this brother right here is sowing spiritually. And he's doing what? Even though he may be taking L after L after L in the flesh, like, damn, this brother getting his ass whooped. But then when you look at him in the spirit, like, yeah, this man going hard though in the spirit. Why is that? Because you're taking L's in the flesh, and because you're taking L's in the flesh, you're defeating it. You defeat your flesh, and then in return, what do? You take a W in the spirit, meaning you grow. The Lord brings you up on the level. Okay? He deals with you more so on the spiritual level because now he's beginning to do what? To trust your spiritual fruit, because you've been planting spiritually. Now he's starting to see it blossoming. He can see, okay, this is a good fruit here. It's blossoming. because he's sowing to the spirit. Okay, that's the importance of it, brother. That's the importance of staying locked into the spirit. That's the importance of prayer. That's the importance of brotherly love. That's the importance of charity and fasting and all these spiritual things that Yahweh Shai instructed us to do. That is the importance of it. All right, it gives you spiritual gain to where you go into the day of tribulation and not bug out like the rest of these carnal people out here. All right, because they're going to reap, or they're going to basically reap carnality, because they sow carnality throughout their life. So when it's time for the microchip to come, when it's time for the stores to be shut down, when it's time for the riots in the street, when it's time for Jacob's trouble, you're going to see carnal reactions. You're going to see carnality on a whole, elevated on a whole, okay? Because that's majority of these American citizens, that's what they sold, carnality. So they must reap it. Well, us brothers here, primarily at Great Millstone, and it's a lot of bullshit artists, okay, that's gonna get removed out of Great Millstone, man. Okay, through the test of time, the Lord is gonna start removing all of you carnal niggas that come up under the name of Great Millstone, but you behind the scenes teaching things that you ought not to be teaching, man. Like this guy with GMS Perfection, you know, breaking down the chip totally wrong, man. You ain't with Great Millstone. The Lord gonna spew you out, man. All right. That's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. All right, I'm gonna finish it off. He says, for he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap everlasting life. All right, or life everlasting. And that's ultimately what we want to accomplish. We want to finish the mission with salvation and receiving the crown personally from Yahweh Shai. That's the mission. Okay. So along this path, along this gate, this straight gate, this narrow entrance, we're going to run into obstacles where the Lord is going to analyze and see, did he react according to the flesh, or did he react according to the spirit? And if you lose in the flesh, it's okay. All right? Just hold your integrity, hold your faith, so you can gain in the spirit. All right? So with that, I'm going to close out giving out praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bashim Rakakudash. Double honors once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, safety, and much love to the elect. Until the next time I say, Shalom and much love, Aki. Shalom.